So the Academy of Entrepreneurs and Associates is basically our group of folks who come together as much as we can during our webinars. We enjoy the networking opportunities with the folks that are repeat visitors and meeting new people. We learn things every night and look forward to doing it. I'm not a lawyer, an accountant, or a CPA. I'm just a business person that's been doing it for 63 years, offering free advice in the best nature possible. And always the first advice I give to you is to get second and third opinions before you do anything that's going to affect your financial security or or you starting your business. And a really good place to get those second and third opinions is, of course, at the small business centers at the various community colleges. If you're not in the Kenansville area and would like to be in touch with the small business center in your area, let me know, and I'll be glad to give you their name, address, phone number, how to get in touch with them, and even write an introductory letter for you if that's what you'd like. Tonight's series is the next to the last in a 10-part series of raising the bar in 2022. In other words, how can we do things different to really help our business grow larger and make more money and be more sustainable? And we certainly have enjoyed repeat visits from most of y'all and look forward to tonight's session. I want to let you know that if you attend the Academy series, you can be eligible to win certificates, 3 or 4 different types, and we're certainly very happy to do that. Part of your handouts tonight is the quiz that we'll ask you to take. Answers are right there for you, so you can be reading through them and studying them. And then next week I'll send out a blank quiz where I'll rearrange the questions a little bit, ask you to fill in the blanks and send them back to me so you can qualify for different types of certificates. After your quiz, it has what you can do to win or earn the different types of certificates. Next Wednesday night, we're going to be talking about how to set prices for your services and your products, and also different things that we can do, 6 strategies to help you conquer the competition, so to speak. So that'll be on board for next Wednesday night. And then after that, we'll have a series of classes through March and up to April the 7th. A couple of them on how to start a trucking business, one on how to start a lawn care business, one about taxes and selling. Then after this, it's not posted here, but we'll talk about how to start a salon business and several more. So you're welcome always to come back for all of the webinars and improve your knowledge as much as you can. Also part of your handouts are 30 Main Street drill skills. And what this is are different techniques and tips and strategies that you can use. Very easy to learn, to read, but if you make these drill skills a part of your DNA and how you're making decisions and to run your business, they will help you make a lot more money with a lot less stress. And I'm glad to offer it to you free of charge. 30 of them on your sheets, you'll see where that you can simply just go to the YouTube channel, log right in and see videos on all of these, and really helps you learn them, and I want to encourage you to do that. Part of these drill skills are part of your quiz that you'll be taking, so let me encourage you to spend some time doing that. Tonight's focus is on employee retention and strategies, and I hope that you enjoy it. This is the first time that I've given this webinar in maybe about 10 years. It's been very popular when I do private counseling with employers and new employees, but I'm glad to offer it online tonight free. It's usually a subject matter where I'm doing it privately and charging a pretty substantial fee to give this class. So I hope you enjoy it and give me some good feedback on it. You know, it's one thing to find employees, but to find great employees, the one that we need to really grow our business. When we grow our business to the point it's time to start delegating, then we don't need these tips and to help us be in the lane to get the best employees. So let's just think just lean back and relax. This is a low pressure type presentation tonight where I want things just kind of soak in and we enjoy each other's company and thinking together, even though we're not looking at each other eyeball to eyeball. I hope that we can communicate. So when we start hiring people, the first thing we need to ask ourselves is, what are the values that are most important to you that you want to be able to find in this person that you're thinking about hiring? And those of you that are not quite ready to hire people, but maybe you're working for someone else even now before you start your own business, think about this in terms of, how does this affect me? What do I see going on my job and in my work experiences out there in the business world? And make these points apply to you and what might help you tomorrow to do things. I've had the opportunity in my 60-some years in business to have hired over 2,500 employees. Of course, that stretched out over a long time, and I knew all of them personally, and tried to know them as well as I could when opportunities existed. So I always have a lot of remembering, a lot of memories about experiences with employees as I give this webinar. And so it's very personal for me. But so you got a vacancy, you got a job to do. What values are going to be really important to you? Now, in your handouts, you've got a scale where you could actually write down what would be important to you on your sheet of paper, and then kind of get some practice in thinking about that. On the scale of 1 is not so good, and a 10 is the best. So let's look at that. What are we looking for? Well, here's the sheets that I have used through the years. I want to find someone that's trustworthy and steadfast, has stamina, easy to communicate with, pervasiveness. They understand how to do sales and negotiation, competitiveness and leadership skills. Are they motivated? Or would they inspire other people? Just how is their tool belt with business skills and management skills? What kind of number would you put in here? A perfect number, if you wanted to give all these a 10 to find that perfect person, which I'll tell you does not exist, but that would be a score of 120. So when you list down what's important to you, you're going to find that probably you want to end up with a score here of about 60. And it'll help you to rearrange and help you decide what's more important than other things, so that when you start talking with a prospective hire, someone you're going to hire and bring on board, you'll have a good chance of ending up with what you really need. Are you ready to hire your first employee? Are you ready to expand the team that you have? Maybe you already have 1 or 2 and you're ready to expand. Well, each one of these would bring different criteria to you, but let's say that you are ready, and even though maybe you're not, but for tonight's purposes, pretend with me and come along on board like you're looking for that employee. I know that personally that several of you I've worked with in private counseling. I know that y'all are not long away from actually hiring some people to help you start different phases of your business. So this is an important question for you. So how do we go about it? The first thing I want you to think about when you're ready to bring other people on board in your business is you need to set standards. The cornerstone of being an employer, a successful employer, is, are you willing to set standards? And those standards of service and hospitality excellent are going to be the most important. If someone's going to be your hire and they're going to represent your company, you want to make sure you have given them directions on how you want it to go. I like to call it a +1 management style. Any of you can be a good manager. I can be a decent manager, but I'm never going to be satisfied on being just a decent or just average or just getting by as a manager. What I want to be is a +1 type manager. That is, every day I'm trying to up the ante and raise the standards a little bit. In other words, I'm putting pressure on myself, and that's what I want you to do as well. The +1 managers, like the young lady here, is this fella may have been doing okay, but she wants him to up the ante. She's looking over his shoulder, even though she can't see over it. She got her arm over here. In other words, she's not going to miss a thing. And whether you like it or not, that is +1 management style. It is being there and being aware. And that is the key for you to bring on board the right people and make sure that they stay with you. So here's what +1 management style says. First of all, I'm going to set good standards for service. I'm going to set excellent standards for hospitality. And I'm going to establish the boundaries for my employees. That is, I like to call that the river banks. In other words, they can go down the river, but I want them to stay off the banks. I don't give them lanes to stay in. And the owner of the business, the manager has to set those boundaries. You just can't expect a new hired employee to understand exactly where you want them to be. So it's up to you to set the boundaries that they can work in. And you always want them to know that you're expecting yourself and them to want to go up to the next level in all these factors in service and hospitality. Some managers through the years will call this type of management style keeping a gentle and continuous pressure. And pressure is not a friendly word. I know that. I've got it here in red, but it is a must. But the key is gentle and continuing pressure. That is, like, you got to have air pressure in your tires on your car, right? And that pressure is not bad. It's just keeping things in the right form. Well, you can have too much air pressure and you can have too little air pressure. But if you got the right amount, a genuine and continuing amount of pressure, then you're going to be able to lead personally and manually demonstrate to your employees how to maintain the standards. That's the key. It's up to you to teach them how to maintain the standards. And how do you do that? Well, we do that with everything that we do daily, the way we behave, and the examples and the posture that we set. A general and continuing pressure. That is, we're not going to be at war, but we're also not going to be easy peasy with no rules and no boundaries. So I'm going to use the example tonight of this continuous, general, and continuous pressure. We're going to talk about as if we are running a restaurant, a formal restaurant that has white tablecloths. Now, if you're doing that, every place setting needs to be set up the right way, right out of the book. And so you would have your employees actually memorize this place setting as a part of their initial training before you would ever send them out to be on the wait staff, right? So, okay, you've done that part. Now, once they have said they know it, how do you keep that general and continuous pressure? Well, I can tell you that if you go to a nice restaurant, you will generally see the manager or the owner constantly walking around, looking at the tables, just like this fellow is doing, and he may move something just a quarter of an inch or an eighth of an inch. And he may go down to the other end and put a napkin or a plate, just move it just a little bit. What is he doing? Is he trying to bug the staff and say, you didn't do it right? No. Is he trying to prove a point? No. Is he trying to say, well, I don't have anything else better to do, so I'm just going to rearrange things? No. What that manager and owner is doing is what I want you to do in your business. I want you to always keep a genuine and continuing pressure, because who sees him doing this? The first people that see him doing it are the staff that set that table up to begin with. And they're saying, what in the world? He moved this a little bit and he moved that a little bit. But in the back of their mind, what they're knowing is, he's not fussing at me. He didn't come over here and tell me I did anything really wrong, but he's showing me that he wants it just right. I want to have a pressure here that shows my employees that I'm going to be on continuous watch and keep our presentations exactly right. That's a general and continuing pressure. But who else sees this gentleman doing that. Well, the customers that are coming into the restaurant see him doing that too. And what do they say about it? Wow, this fellow wants it just right. You know, every time I've ever been to this restaurant, things have been set up just right. I've had no bad surprises with this type of thing. This manager must keep a genuine and continuing pressure on himself and his whole crew to make sure that his customers are treated just right. So you see, this little act that he's doing is making a major difference. Sometimes I go into a barber shop, and one of my favorite barbers, my most favorite barber in the whole world, is on board with us tonight, Jimmy Packard from down at Garland. And I'll notice that sometimes I go in Jimmy's shop, and he'll finish with one person, and he'll stop. He can invite me to come on in and sit down, but he'll stop, and he'll go he'll clean up, he'll straighten up after that last customer left, do some sanitizing, sweep up, clean up nicely, go through what I call a routine that is showing all the customers that's sitting in there that he's got standards that he's maintaining. And during that time, he'll take time to speak to everybody that's waiting before he starts servicing my old ugly head. But so everyone is made to feel welcome. Most of the time he's there right by himself. He's a one-man show. So as I am in my business, and most of you are. So if we have a standard that we set for ourselves, a routine that we can keep a genuine, continuing pressure on ourselves now, when we hire employees, it'll be easier for us to teach them how to do it as well. We want to train our staff to deliver not just service, but service with what I say, service with soul. That is real, warm, friendly service, so that people know that we care about the customers and that we listen to what they say and we follow up on their responses with being thoughtful and gracious and appropriate responses every time we get a chance. I need to mute some mics. Give me just a moment. I see we got some regular associates on board. Let me take just a moment to welcome Adrian and Gary. Good to have you on board tonight as well. We've been missing you. Glad to have you back on board. And Angela, I hope you're good tonight and had a good week as well. Moving on now. Smiles on faces means satisfaction. So our goal as looking for those employees, we want employees that not only have a smile on their face, but have the ability to put a smile on our customers' face as well. Now, leadership in management with soul is important too. In other words, how do you find the best employees is one thing, but how to keep them is something else. So we have to keep that general and continuing pressure on ourselves to manage with soul. The employee needs to know that we actually care about them as individuals, not just caring about what they're doing for your company. And when the employees have something to say, we need to listen to them and not just pass over it as if it's just idle conversation. We need to respond to them just like we do with our customers, with thoughtful, gracious, and appropriate responses. Taking time to do that is an important factor. Getting that right employee on board starts with an application. A lot of folks, when you're just getting started as an entrepreneur and you're hiring your first person, say, well, this is my first time. I'm not going to worry about having an application. Well, that's a mistake. You can't have an application that's too long. And if you use the guide tonight and you save these records I'm giving you, plus all the handouts that were sent to you, there is a world of information that anyone can take what I've sent to you tonight and put together great applications and learn all you need to learn about interviewing employees for a job. You want to ask questions that require not just a yes or a no, but a narrative response. In other words, you want to hear through their language how this customer thinks, and if they have the ability to think at all. You want to leave enough blank spaces and blank pages with numbers on them so that they actually have to plug in and turn that gray matter in their brain on and show you what they're all about. You want to mention your company policy, your paid holidays, your vacation, tardy policy. You want them to give you want them in advance to have a good idea of what it's like to work for your organization. In other words, you don't want them to have any surprises, and you don't want any surprises either. So listen to me. When you're hiring, there's three major words that we're going to remember. Can, will, and fit. So if you're looking for someone to come in and join your organization, let's say that Jimmy is thinking about bringing someone in and renting a chair to him in his shop, and he could rent one or two or three chairs maybe. But none of us want to bring someone in that's going to work with us and our employees in a close situation unless they can, will, and fit. So let's kind of break that down. Can. Are they smart enough to get the job done? Is there enough light in the light bulb to get the job done that you need to be needs doing? Do they have ability? Do they have smarts? Okay, and different jobs will require different levels of this. But we all have seen some folks, as much as we might love them, even if they're kin to us, that just aren't cut out to do certain jobs. And I don't want you to be one of the folks that make the mistake by hiring someone who from day one just can't get it done. And the way you avoid making that mistake is through your application and interviewing process. So number one is can. Number two is will. Will they do it? Do they have the attitude and the motivation to get it done? Or you don't have to put your finger on every little thing that's to be done. In other words, you've hired this person to do a job, but instead of them just doing it, you're having to take up a lot of time to point out every little thing to them because there's no self-motivation. There's no getting started on their own. So how do you avoid hiring someone that's not going to be motivated? You do a really good interview and you have a really good application. So number two is will. Number three is fit. Now this isn't physically fit. This is how does their personality and their way of thinking and communicating fit with you, your other employees, and with your customers. Is this a person who wears so much jewelry that it's just very evident that they've got an issue with feeling like they have to decorate themselves with jewelry and you have a clientele that does not think that way, or the rest of your team at your business just don't think that way. So you know from square one, from first impressions, that there's going to be a problem with the fit. Do you have a person that during your interviewing process and you asking them questions, they're always coming up with their political thoughts and how they think everybody else is totally stupid and ignorant if they don't agree with them, and just putting everything out? In other words, they have no filter, just letting you know everything that's on. If it's on their mind, it comes out their mouth, and you know right up front that don't fit you and it doesn't fit your team at your business, and darn sure don't fit your customers. Then you need to move away. So how do you find out if they fit or not? Through the application and the interview process. So I hope you're seeing right away that even though you may be hiring your first person or you're not new at this, you need to be good at it. It's better not to hire someone at all than to hire someone that's less than the best. It's better not to hire someone at all than to hire someone that's less than the best. Experts advise that when you're hiring someone that you have an important position in your business and you've got a number of employees, the person you want to hire, you want to have in the back of your mind that they can be in the top 3 of your staff within 6 months. That's right. Even though they're brand new, they will move ahead of other people you've got on board and really produce. Now, when you're a private contractor, and I see that 4 of you on board tonight, having counsel with you, I know that you're probably going to be offering yourself to other people as a independent private contractor, but they're going to be looking at you as an employee. Yeah, in today's world, when we don't hire employees as often as we bring consultants in or private contractors, this is going to be important for you as you're making that application. Some of us are thinking about offering contracts and services to other people. You're not going to be their employee, but our presentation needs to present yourself to them. Hey, I am so good that if I was your employee, I would become one of your top 3 staffers within 6 months. You see how this works? It works a lot of different ways for those of us that own our own businesses, one-man shows, but the work we do for other people is kind of like we're their employee. So we found somebody, we've talked to them a little bit, had a little interview with them. I like the way they talk. I know their parents, they come from good stock and all those things. They're the same denomination, go to the same type of church that I go to. So is it time to seal the deal? No, 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 no. It is not time to seal the deal, because we want to make sure that we're hiring the best of the rest is ahead. Here's some things that we need to ask now when we're talking about interviewing and putting our plans together when we're trying to hire and keep the best people. You see, the best way to keep the best employees is to hire the best employees. So, does this person you're talking to have an infectious attitude? Is this person nice and just come across as someone it's nice to be around? And I would spread goodwill around your business. And I'm pleased tonight to say that I know several of y'all been to my webinars and seminars, and I know that several of you guys just have a really good infectious attitude. An example of those are Adrian and Jimmy and Valerie, and maybe all of you, but I know it don't take you but about 10 minutes with these folks, or even less than that, to know they have an infectious attitude. Do you sense that when you read their resume that there's a self-awareness? In other words, this isn't just words that are written on paper they're telling you about their bio, but there's a self-awareness that they're really good at something and want you to know it. So when you're writing a resume, it needs to have some spirit to it, where that you're kind of bragging on yourself and talking about your career plan and what you consider that good life to be. When you're reading the resume, it's important. Do they understand that hiring an employee from the employer's point of view is, I'm just not hiring a person. I've got to weigh out the amount of money I'm paying someone versus the amount of money they're going to make for me. And an employee needs to understand that that's a two-edged sword. And yeah, I don't come and take money from you, but if I do that, I need to be bringing you back the same amount of money and more, because this is a business. And when you can talk to folks and they have that realization that you understand how that works, then you've got a better person. And when you're talking to someone about maybe hiring you as a contractor or an employee, make that point that you understand that, yes, whatever they pay you, you got to bring it back to them, plus double it almost, to justify a good business situation. Cash flow. Now, of course, y'all been to my webinars and studied, and you know what cash flow is. So when you're hiring an employee, do they know what cash flow is? You talk to them about it, and you find out just how much general understanding they have of business. Well, you may say, Steve, I don't expect people to understand this. Well, you need to have a good feel for it, because maybe if you keep interviewing, you will find someone that does have it, and therefore they're going to help you make more money if they understand what cash flow is. You're making notes on these different points. And maybe someone is doing really good on some of these areas and really not good on the others. Well, you will make note of that, and you may be saying to yourself, I want to hire this person, but I want to put them in training so that they can learn more about these areas that they're weak in. I want to help them fill up their tool belt. And automatically, you're going to know that you could have them attending webinars and seminars at the small business centers free as a part of your training period for them. You can make them go get the training they need. Are they trustworthy? Are they trusting? Do you know one of the best ways to find out if someone is trustworthy? When you talk to them long enough and ask them the right questions, you'll find out if they have the ability to trust other people. And people that are always jealous and coming up with schemes and theories and all these things that you know just are kind of wacky, but it's all based on the mistrust or not trusting other people. Well, my experience has been, and I'm not some type of head strength, but my experience with employees has been the best way to point out somebody that can't be trusted is to find someone that can't trust other people. Right. If someone can't trust other people, there's probably a good chance that they shouldn't be trusted as well. So in your interviews, as you talk about how they feel about trusting other people, you might be able to see into that crystal ball and get a little insight on whether they can be trusted or not. You want to look for curiosity. I don't want to hire someone that has such a one-track mind that they can't think about but one thing. Because my business is going to be growing. I need to bring in new customers and new products and such as that. So someone that has a curiosity and wants to understand the logic of things. Why are we doing this and why are we doing that? And what we might be doing in the future. Curiosity is a really great asset and one that you should talk to a potential employee about. Ask hard questions. All of us can answer the easy questions. What they call in politics the softball questions. Like you're standing up at the plate, so I don't send you a little softball slow pitch, make it an easy question to answer, and you'll look real good. Now this is a different time now. You're thinking about hiring this person, and hopefully for a long time, and trusting them. I want you to keep asking questions till you actually put them into an uncomfortable situation. Kind of on the hot seat and an uncomfortable situation. Now, you need to stay legal with your questions. Some questions you can't ask. But you can work around all of those and make that potential employee feel uncomfortable and squirm. It's important that you do that. It's important that you do that. Why? Because life isn't a bed of roses. All days aren't good days. All customers aren't nice. And all situations don't end with a happy ending. And you're going to have employees that are going to have to deal with uncomfortable situations with you and your employees. You want to see how they act. You want to see how they handle an uncomfortable situation. So many people never interview employees to see this, and therefore they miss out until 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months or 2 or 3 years down the road, this employee has a situation and he just falls apart. He or she falls apart and just can't handle things unless it's going just right. And you know as well as I do there's a lot of folks out there like that. So you make sure that as part of your application process is you push in several areas, at least 2 or 3 different areas in your interview to make them feel uncomfortable. Now, one of your handouts tonight is something that nationwide HR folks, human resources folks that actually interview, that their job at their factory or their plant is to interview people for jobs. And there's 2 methods that are used in America and have been used for over 50 years. One's called the STAR method, and one's called the parade method, where they have different logics and ways that they get the information they need from a potential hire. So I've given those to you in your handout. I want you to hang on, and it's really interesting reading the 2 approaches that you might need to use, and you can use some of them either way. But this is good stuff. It goes on and on. It's very in-depth, but it's it's information that will help you. Motivation. You know what that is? We've talked about that. It's being assertive. Nobody is motivated unless someone else is assertive. So you're looking for someone with self-motivation. That is, they're so assertive they can move their self forward to see what needs to be done and go for it. But you're looking for someone that can not only motivate themselves, but also motivate a potential customer to go ahead and buy something from you, or motivate other team members to let's move forward here. So does this person have motivation? Do you have motivation? Is this a person that's talking about threats and conspiracy theories and paranoia about this or that? Are they insecure? It won't take you long when you put them in those uncomfortable situations to see if this is a part of their demeanor. And I want to tell you, if any of these things exist, they make threats, they believe in conspiracy theories, paranoia, insecurities, then that ought to be putting up a great big red flag to you that maybe I just don't need to have this person in my employ. Now, I'll share with you yesterday, I had lunch with a family member, and this family member was telling me that they thought all this stuff that's going on over in Ukraine was fake news, that none of that was happening. All those people were actors, and it's just all fake. Well, that is a conspiracy theory type person. And the world is full of them these days, in politics, in medicine, in vaccinations, in going to the moon, in so many things. A lot of folks are so believing in conspiracy theories, I'm just amazed. But I'll tell you, my friends, some good old free advice, and you can take it if you like it. You need to run from those kind of folks. You need to make sure that they've got a level head, because these conspiracy theories are dangerous, and especially if they're working for you and your employees and they start spouting off about this or that with some of your customers, they won't ever come back because they're afraid of them. So just a little word to the wise. That's paranoia. And insecurity is what that's all about, for whatever reason it is. Character, values, and standards. No matter what station in life we came from whether we came in as migrant laborers and stooped over picking up sweet potatoes, to maybe our parents were bankers or millionaires, every person has value. Every person has rights and has a opportunity, I think, to move forward. And it's not about where they came from. It's not about the clothes that they're wearing today. But if you take the time, if you believe as I do, take the time to find out what this person is all about character-wise, where their values are and where their standards are, then I want to tell you that if these three factors are high, a lot of the ones we've talked about before can be taught. But these are the ones that you can't buy. These are the ones that you can't train someone to have character. You can't train someone to have values. And you can't train someone to really want their personal standards to be high. So while I put this late on the list, it's the most important three factors in interviewing a possible employee. It's the most important three factors when you are presenting your company and yourself to someone else as a possible contractor or a counselor or someone that's going to provide service. Anyone that's been around a while will appreciate the fact that you're not ashamed that you have character and value and standards, and present it in such a way that someone's comfortable in doing it. And here I've got a little situation where I want to use some words. There are folks that can come into an interview and they're just bubbly and they're pretty. I mean, a beautiful, like off the cover of a fashion magazine. I mean, just a really good-looking guy or gal, and they got that great big $1 million smile, and they're telling you this and they're telling you that. Well, that is charisma. And charisma is really an important factor to have. It's so good, especially in so many jobs related to sales and marketing. Charisma is so good. But I want to tell you, charisma is not a substitute for character. You can teach charisma. You can send someone to act in school and teach them how to smile and the right things to say. But you always got to remember that someone may come in and blow you away. They may be so cool that they just mesmerize you with the way they talk. But you got to keep searching for the character standpoint if you're going to do yourself a real favor to hire the best people. Because when you hire the best people that have character, and you got character, there's a good chance you'll be able to keep them on board for a long, long time. So here's a new drill skill. Number 39 is one of them that we added from this program. Integrity cannot be compromised or replaced. And be real careful not to let charisma become a substitute for characters. This is a good place where we talk about politicians, because we all have some politicians that we like and we don't like. But they got elected, and maybe we liked them before we got to know them. Maybe we liked them because of their charisma, but when we found out how they were lacking on integrity, we didn't like them. That may be true with your preacher or your employer now, or what you want to be in the future. But my advice here is you always want to make sure that your character is shining out, that's the light that you're letting shine out, is the character. Now, if you want to let that light shine out, that character shine out with charisma, that's a plus. But as someone that's hiring someone, you make sure you remember the difference. Okay, we've hired someone now. They've come on board. How do we keep them on board? What do we do with a new employee? What do we do with a new person that we're working for as a contractor? Well, first of all, just because you got the job doesn't mean that you don't need to worry about a relationship, because you have to stay connected. There needs to be a continuing, not a needy type thing. No, not a needy type thing. But stay connected in such a way that I know who you are and you know who I am, and I'm glad that we're working together. And through that, we'll build some type of relationship, positive, hopefully really soon. Learn early what their experiences and their challenges are. You got to know them well enough. You'll get some of this when you're interviewing. Learn well what their experiences and their challenges are so you can work forward. So another drill skill. And I think you may have heard this before, but if not, I'm glad to say it to you the first time. People do not really care about how much you know. You can be the smartest person on earth, and you maybe know 100 times more than anyone else that you're going to meet today, and you just kind of got your nose up in the air because you think you know it all. But the drill skill says people do not really care about how much you know until they know how much you care. Right. That's the definition of character. How much do you care? It's a good drill skill. It's in your test too. So let's understand about now what it's going to take to keep these people on board. How do we keep the best employees? First of all, you need to keep your radar turned on. Always be looking, especially with new employees, look for signals that they're sending to you. It may be subtle, most of the time be nonverbal communications. You need to keep signals up so that you can read what people are saying to you. You want to make sure that they're not leaving your organization for more pay. You want to make sure that they're not running away from some responsibilities that they've been put on them that they don't want or don't feel like they're qualified for. You want to make sure that they have a good increased employee satisfaction level. How do you know these things? You have to talk to them. You have to look at signals. You have to kind of talk around and find out what's going on. Keep your radar turned on. Now, the manager has a role in this. You might have your owner, you might have your general manager, but the manager that is working over this group, whether it's one person employee or 50, here's what the manager's roles here are. They have to create a motivating environment. And the manager and the bosses have to stand up for their team. Teamwork. Provide coaching where it's needed. Just don't give people enough rope to hang themselves. You need to delegate. Give out enough responsibility that makes it work, and make sure that those people that want extra responsibility, you find a way to get it to them. Because that's how your company's going to grow, is the people you've delegated responsibility to, is to help them handle it. They handle it well. You keep giving them more. You don't want to overdo it, but you need to keep building that responsibility up, because they feel like they're growing when you're doing that. Where do they want to move from the point they're at now? What's their focus for the future career? And this is so important as you think about this. 17 ways to keep those employees. Share the vision. Share the goals. Keep a good work environment. Take care of your employees financially. Acknowledge and reward hard work, and then acknowledge and reward their work. When someone's doing a good job, don't wait till a Christmas party a year from now. Speak to it right then. Let them know that you have noticed and that you appreciate it. That's keeping that radar on. When people have certain strengths, you try to give them responsibilities that let them use those strengths and move forward quicker. Give them the opportunity to shine. Let someone be the best they can be, and enjoy the fact that they have an opportunity to shine. Because when you have employees that are shining, as a manager and a team leader, it makes you look good as well. Treat folks the way that you want to be treated, no matter what position that they're in. Always keep in mind that you need to be ready to recruit someone, either whether they're employed with you now, but you're always got your radar on for other people that you can bring on board at any time. Never close your door to thinking about, how can I bring someone in to help improve my business? Remember, we're always adding new profit centers, looking for new things to sell. That means we need to be looking for new people to help us make that happen. Hire people with passion, that smile, that turn people on. Hire people with charisma. That's right. We want those people on board. Look for that job fit that we talked about earlier. Make sure you're bringing someone on board that's going to get along with the other folks and be motivated to make your whole team a better place to be. You want self-starter people, people that motivate themselves. You want to recognize that your employees have a personal life. That's right. They got families and they got cares. They cry. They have tears. And by golly, the people at work that they're working with, especially their manager and their boss, needs to care about that. It makes a difference. Hire people that's got leadership abilities. If you see folks that are leaders in the community or the club that you're in or such as that, hire great leaders. Now, it's often said that people don't quit their job. You ever thought about this? Most people don't quit their jobs. They quit their boss. They really do. Through the years, I've had so many people that would leave me for one reason or another. I had a couple of managers that were really tough on employees. They were really great managers, and they really made good profits for us. But they, in their own ways, there were some employees that just could not stay with them, and they quit. Loved their job, but didn't like working for one of my managers. And I was always having to weigh out, am I losing the right people? But the bottom line was, the people that were really doing the best job, they loved their manager and got along well. It was because he tried to motivate folks, and some people weren't to be motivated, so they quit their boss. So here's another drill skill. I want you to remember this. It's often said that employees oftentimes do not quit their job, they quit their boss. Now, what does that mean to us? It means that if you're losing employees or folks just refuse to come to work for one of your managers, then you've got a problem there that you need to correct with the manager. If you can't find good quality people that want to come to work for you, is the problem you? We have to ask ourselves that. And do you need to make some changes? So be thinking about that, and that's why it's a drill skill. Conduct stay interviews. That is, always know that employees may have eyes for a greener pasture, and it's up to you and me to stay in touch with our employees and talk to them about, are you happy? What do we need to do to make the company even better for you? I like to call that a stay interview. Be the wind beneath their wings. Be that extra special person that you got the energy, and they know that you're behind them, and you're backing them up. I got your back, baby. I got your back. That's being the wind beneath your wings. And we all feel better when we have that feeling that someone's will actually back us up. Shout it out to the world, the whole wide world. Let them know the way you keep your people on board is you brag about them as a team. You talk to everyone you go to about what a great team you have. You tell the world, other people, that you've got a great team of employees, that you love to work with them, and they are the very best at their skills and talent. When you're bragging in the community and to the customers about how good your employees are, they smile and they're proud of that fact. And you know what they do? Then they start doing the same thing about talking about what a great company this is to work for and why they never leave it and how a customer would be really wise to do business with us. And I also want you to be a dream manager. And we'll talk about that in about an hour, for the next hour, being a dream manager, because it is a big, big way to help keep the very best employees. I've also give to you in your handouts an employee handbook. So if you're thinking about hiring folks or getting your business up and running, and Adrienne, this is probably a biggie for you as you start bringing on staff to help you grow your company, is that you'll want to have an employee handbook. So I'm giving you a good example. I left the blanks out where you can take what you want out of it. It's really comprehensive. And one of my clients that started in our academy about 10 years ago did this for us and gave me a copy of it and said we could use it. So this can save you hours and hours of work, and it's free. So let's bring this first hour in for a close and talk about next week again, another reminder, how to set prices and how to conquer the competition. I want you to remember that every moment matters, and in your life, you're living your legacy now. So let's find the right people to work with and keep the right employees. Now we're going to move into another topic, and it's called managing dreams. And I doubt that any of you have heard this subject mentioned before, but I do love it because it's had such a great impact on my life and on the life of a lot of my friends. So I'm bringing you a lot of personal information here as well. It is the Academy of Entrepreneurs and Associates that I'm so proud to have you all a part of. And again, I'm not a lawyer or an accountant. And next week, we're going to be talking about some very important subjects as well. And then after that, even some more very important subjects. Remember, I want you to really try to master these 40 street smart skills. It will help you. And that's one of the ways that you can get an extra certificate. If you take these 40 skills and rewrite them in your own words and send me a copy of it, that'll qualify you for several really nice certificates. This idea came to me from a book that a friend bought to me, and the author of the book is Matthew Kelly. He's been around for a number of years, and he wrote the Dream Manager book, which I have 4 or 5 copies here in my office. You can rent them at the libraries and buy them online for a very small amount of money, less than $16, and you can even get used ones on Amazon. But Matthew Kelly is an incredible, insightful author and business person. And the Dream Manager has sold over 50 million copies. So a lot of people know about this, and I'm happy to share his work with you. I want to give special credit to this gentleman here, is Byron Horn. Byron is my wife Norma's first cousin. Just an incredible fellow who grew up in Morehead City, but lived and worked in Longview, Texas. He died in 2018. He was a loyal friend, a musician, a teacher, an entertainer extraordinary. He was a really dedicated Christian. But the reason he's on the slide tonight, he and his wife Dorothy, is Byron was a dream manager. Companies hired Byron to come into their organization and handle dream manager programs. And one time when he was spending some time with us, he told me about this and gave me a copy of the book. and I read it, and I was just amazed with the difference that it could make. So I appreciate Byron and what he did. Also, I want to give some special credits to my daughter Sarah and two other authors here, Paul Meyer and Jim Rahm, that I've used a lot of their work in the handouts that I've shared with you. So, what's your dream? What's your dream? The way that we manage our dreams to help individuals and family and friends and co-workers, all this is about ending up with a win-win-win concept. If we learn to manage our dreams, you can open the door to a lifetime of continuing achievement. Now, that's a mouthful of good words, isn't it? Let's go through that again. If we learn to manage our dreams, we can open the door to a lifetime of continuing achievement. I believe that. I've tried to live my life with a lot of that going on and tried to inspire my children when I can to take a bite of that sandwich as well. Of course, all of you know how hard it is to inspire your own kids. But at any rate, we keep working at it. What's your future? Is your future kind of fuzzy? Is it vivid? Is it well-defined? At work, most managers fail. I mean, absolutely fail to hold up to the pressure that they have paying attention to work and also not paying enough attention to people. So we just know that's a fact from life experiences, right? So what happens when business owners help their own people become closer together and connected? What happens if that would ever happen? Well, I personally know it makes a world of difference because my dad kind of taught me some of this before I became a dream manager. But when I saw this happening, it's really important that a business owner tries to bring their employees closer together and have them connected. Because when employees start helping each other with their personal dreams, everybody feels so much better. The workplace becomes a different place. And all of a sudden, almost like a sun shining in, the folks that are working together and feel good about their jobs become engaged with their employers' dreams as well. That's why I'll say, why should you expect an employee to really care about your dreams and goals if you don't care about theirs? Well, you shouldn't. So that's why you do need to care about it. So what are your dreams, Paul Meyer said. And before you can understand and motivate and lead others, you have to understand yourself. What motivates you? What makes you lead yourself? What are your dreams? Do you have certain tips that you want to make? You have to write it down. You have to write down these dreams. You have to say, allow yourself to dream big, without limits, and only share your dreams with those people that you wish to share them with. I'm not asking you to go out and tell the world your dreams, but I will ask you need to share them with at least one other person. And it's okay that if you hear someone else's dream, to add their dream on your list. Nothing at all wrong with that. And be willing to support and encourage other people as we talk about dreams. There's several areas of focus because I don't ask you to write down your dreams, at least 10. And there's several areas of focus that you can do, and I've given you these handouts to help you. Physical, intellectual, all these are listed down here, and we'll go over them individually. Physical, your dreams might include looking healthier. I want to run a marathon. I want to quit smoking. I want to lose weight and drink less. Intellectual, you might say, I want to go back to school and learn a certain language, or I want to start reading a book each month. Visit my favorite museum. Well, when I first did this, I said, I want to start reading a book each month because I'm a terrible reader. And I just didn't do it. I tried. And at the library, and also my son encouraged me, well, Steve, if reading a book isn't good to you, why don't you start listening to them? Because you're on the road all the time, and you can listen to the books, and they'll help keep you awake when you're driving home from giving webinars and seminars. And you know, I've done this for about 12 years now. If I'm in the car, I'm listening to a book, and I guess I've gone through thousands of different books. Now, I really like war stories and history stuff and dramas and detective books. But you know what? When you can find a certain amount of authors, you start learning not only the stories that they're telling you, but how they're writing it. And you pick up the different standards that they have. And you pick up a lot of history. So reading and listening to books has really helped me, made a major difference. Visit my favorite museum might be something you want to do. Emotionally, maybe you got some issues there. Maybe it's important to you to buy your own home, to get into a great relationship. Maybe you want to take a loved one to Italy or to somewhere else. And you want to help your children and your spouse learn to pursue their dreams. Character, maybe you got some flaws that you want to work on to develop patience. You want to learn to actually fulfill and do what you say you're going to do. I want to create in my life the way that people will trust me completely, be trustworthy. I can keep a secret. Learn to do that. I want to improve my character. Financial is always a place that we can dream about, right? Want to pay off debts, start a college fund for our children. I want to earn $90,000 a year. I want to begin working with a financial advisor. Spiritual, I want to find greater inner peace. Learn to enjoy uncertainty. Study certain scriptures. All these are given to you tonight as different things that you might want to have a topic with on the dreams that you write. Psychological, maybe you want to strengthen your willpower, overcome certain fears, or maybe you got an addiction that you need to work on. We all have these things to work on. I want to adventure. I want to visit some places. I want to go to the Appalachian Trail. Right in Fayetteville, I can go practice skydiving. And if I could, and I was healthy enough, maybe climb a mountain. Let's be creative. Let's write a book. I did it. This book helped me be encouraged to write books. Learn to play the guitar. I tried, but my thumbs wouldn't work. Do some painting. By golly, I've done a little bit, and that led me to doing airbrushing and following a couple of hobbies that I did in recreating fish. Study photography. Tried it, that didn't work, and I'm a pretty darn good gardener. I was doing that before I read the books, but still, that may be a dream that you can do. I want to get a new car. I really want one of those pretty watches. I'd like to have a place at the river, the lake, or the beach. Yeah, all these things are something that you might have in dreams, right? Professionally, I'd like to get a promotion, and I want to become number one in my market. I want to build a new product. I want to leave my desk clean every Friday. I don't even want that as a dream because that means I wasn't doing enough business to keep a dirty desk. But at any rate, that might be your dream and your goal. See, all of us will have different dreams and goals, and that's perfectly fine. I want to leave a legacy. Well, I bought into this in the Dream Manager. I want to spend more time with my children and my grandchildren. I want to volunteer for more charities, and I certainly have been able to do that. And I want to donate more to my favorite charities. You know, it's amazing. Once you write these things down and you decide it's going to be your dream, so many of these will happen for you. I can tell you that because so many of these, just in reading over this list tonight, I've seen come true for me, and I never dreamed it would have happened. The challenge is, identify 3 of your dreams that you would like to achieve this year. You listening to me? Each one of you identify 3 dreams and write them down that you'd like to achieve before the first of next year. And then let's have a little plan on how you would go about achieving it. Just a little step by step. And then find a partner. Find a partner that would also do the same thing that you're doing. Just sit down and list down 3 dreams. And the 2 of you decide that you're going to meet once a month and follow up to see how things are coming along. You think this is silly? It's not. It is so, so serious. Let me tell you about a director of one of the small business centers that I gave this seminar at about 10 years ago. The director said in the seminar, I was handing out copies of the book. I ended up giving her a copy of the book. Didn't think much about it, but after the seminar was over, she did call me back. It was one of the first ones I had given. She said, Mr. Carver, said, I've heard a lot of seminars in my time here as director. He said, but this one just kind of took a hold with me. I said, well, good. And then she asked me for a copy of the book. She said she'd like to read it. Let me tell you, about 8 weeks later, I got a phone call, and it was her on the line. And she said, Steve, I want to tell you this Dream Manager thing has been a life changer for me. I've read this book twice. I've gone over your things. I've sit down with my children, and I've talked with them, and it's just making a major difference for us. And she said, I just really appreciate it. Well, of course, that really made my light come on. I was so happy to get that message. 3 weeks later, she called me up and she said, I've just resigned from my job. Now, this was the director of the Small Business Center. I've just resigned from my job. I've always wanted to live in California. My husband's going back and forth to California in his work. Said, I'm going to move out there and I'm going to become a real estate agent. And she did. She pulled up her roots in eastern North Carolina and now lives in Santa Monica, California. She's the manager of a huge real estate firm out there, and her husband are doing really well and very happy. And she called me a couple of years later just to express how much she appreciated not only me, but mainly the Dream Manager and what it meant to her, because she wrote her dreams down and then made them happen. Just amazing. I know it can make a difference. And that's maybe the biggest example I can give you, but there's hundreds of others. So please take this serious. This is not silly stuff. The key is you got to write them down, and you got to find a partner and then follow up with them. So you got to keep dreaming. Each week, spend 5 minutes in your dream book. Each week, add dreams and identify progress. Include pictures and quotes to help you along the journey to remember what's been happening. Tell your friends and your colleagues about their dreams. Start asking other people. And who can assist you? Find people that will assist you in achieving those dreams. Every day ask, what's your dream? Tell me more about it. And how can I help you see it come true? Now here's my offer to each of you. Take it serious. And if you can't find someone else, a personal friend or whatever, I'll be your person. I'd love to be your dream manager. It will be 100% confidential, but you got to make the first step. List down those first 3 dreams and some ways you think you can get there, and share it with me. I'll tell you what my dreams are too, and we'll start down this path together and see what happens. It can't hurt anything, and it just may be amazing what you can do. So what does this have to do for a business owner now? How can a business owner take these things that are so personal and make it work for the business? Because I want to tell you that if your employees are working together with each other in this Dream Manager thing, 2 employees over here and 2 over there and 1 over there, or maybe it's just 2 of you, or maybe you don't have any other employees, but you got a good friend or a client you could work with to see this happen. How can it work in the business? Well, first of all, you got to commit to make it happen. And you need to either to appoint or hire a Dream Manager to schedule appointments with every officer and employee that works for you, and to sit down and talk to them about making their list and helping them move through basically what we've done here tonight. You can take these handouts in this program and just move right through it and make it happen. And if you're going to do that, then I'll be happy to share this PowerPoint with you if you commit to me and promise that's why you're using it. Some employers would just hire folks like me or like Byron that I mentioned earlier, or other people to come in and do it professionally for a fee, or they can appoint people on their own staff and I could train them, or they could come to one of these webinars, and then they could take the information and go back and work with them. It can work in church groups, in Sunday school classes, in Bible study classes, at the Legion or the Rotary or the Kiwanis. A Dream Manager program can work with any group of folks. You just have to get it started. Now, once the Dream Manager gets the program started, here is the key. What can the employer do to help the employees see their dreams come true? Now we're getting to the nitty-gritty. And let me just share with you my life's experience, okay? I found out that some of my employees had never owned a home. Matter of fact, no one in their family had ever owned a home. And there's so many of us out here in the world that that's the case. And I had some folks that had been with me for a number of years that had this dream, but had done nothing about getting there. Why? Because they didn't have enough money to make a down payment, or their credit wasn't good, or this or that. Well, over a 3-year period of working with the Dream Manager program, I had 2 employees who were able to buy their own homes. And how did they do that? First of all, as a company, I helped them save money. We started a special fund, and every time they put $1 in it, I'd match their money for a 2 or 3 year period. And you know what? I was so glad to do that. I didn't have a retirement program for them at the time, and that was a way that I could help them help themselves. In other words, they started their own savings accounts to help them end up buying a home. And when it came time for them to buy a home, they had a nice down payment, and I was able to co-sign with them on some of it, or loan them some money for additional down payment. At any rate, the employer can have a lot to do with helping someone move forward, whether it's buying a home, whether it's owning a car, whether it's starting a scholarship fund for their children. Now, we'll pick up on that because I had a lot of folks with young kids, and what I said to them was, I will match your money up to $100 a month, $100 a month. You make that deposit into your child's education fund, and I will match it. And we did. And then once they start to school, every time you bring me a tuition bill that one of your children that's going to school has, I will pay up to $300 on the tuition bill. Now, if they were going to community colleges, lots of times that paid the whole thing, and sometimes it paid for some of the books. Now, this was 20, 25 years ago. But it meant a lot. It meant a lot. And I had as many as 12 employees that were bringing me these tuition bills every 6 months, you know. So it cost me some money, but you know what? All those employees stayed with me forever until they retired or until I sold the business. It makes a major difference. All of them knew that their company that they worked for was all pulling together. It was not me as the owner, but we had a family of employees. It was a family business, but it wasn't my family. It was the whole family in general. And through the work of the Dream Manager program, I really feel like it was a major factor that when I sold my business in 2008 and had, at that point in time, had 12 employees, the average time of employment amongst those 12 employees was over 30 years. Over 30 years. And all of them had left and come back at one time or other. I know that helping your employees see their dreams come true and know that the company is trying to help them do that, I know that is a major key to keeping folks to stay with you. Not always worried about making 25 cents or $1 more per hour, because it was more important to them to know that they were working at a company with a group of fellow employees that really cared about each other. Now, it's been some 15 years since I sold my business, but every time I see an employee, we always take a minute to try to talk and chat and talk about other folks that have come our way. And when we go to funerals, you know, we're at that age that a lot of people are passing on, and we have to go to funerals more so now. But we'll see our other employees there, and almost always during the funeral services, they mentioned about how much they enjoyed working Carver Equipment Company, but they also mentioned about how much they're working with their fellow team members made a major chance. So how can you build a legacy as a business owner? You start a Dream Manager program in your own heart and with your own employees, and you'll see some major, very positive things happen. I'll personally be very happy to share with you experiences and to help you get started if you want to pursue this in your business life and for the future. It's a really good thing to do. So now let's talk about another drill skill. Why should employers expect their staff to really care about what your goals are and your personal dreams if you don't really care about the employees' goals and personal dreams? You can't. But if you turn that around and ask, if the employer sets a program up in their organization where they are making sure the employees know that you're trying to help them see dreams come true and make some good things happen, are they going to stay with you? I want to tell you, they are going to stay with you, and you're going to be so happy that you considered that. So there's another drill skill to learn, okay? Let's talk about the Cape Lookout Lighthouse, because it kind of plays in here. I don't know how many of you have ever been out to Cape Lookout. That's just off the shore from Beaufort, North Carolina. It's at the very bottom of the North Carolina northern Outer Banks. And the lighthouse was built in the early 1900s. It's about 100 feet tall, and it's got diamond shapes on it. Each lighthouse has different shapes. I lived at the Cape Lookout Coast Guard Station, which is shown there as the building, for 2 years back in the 60s. And every day one of my jobs was to go up to the top of this lighthouse. See that person standing there? Go up to the top of this lighthouse and clean all that glass and clean the bulbs and the mirrors inside the lighthouse to make sure they would give the greatest image that we could. And at the time, I was in my early 20s, it seemed like, well, not an important thing to do. It was kind of fun and unique, because when you up at the top of that lighthouse and you looked out across the ocean, you could see just miles and miles and miles, see ships and boats out there, and it was kind of an exciting time when the weather was good. But when the weather was bad, it was an awful place to be, because it was the coldest wind that you'd ever felt in your life. It'd chill you to the bone. It'd be kind of scary. The wind would be blowing so hard, because we'd have to go out there whether it was during the hurricane or not. So 60, 70, 100-mile-an-hour winds, we still had to keep that lighthouse going. Well, you know, when you're a business owner, you have to keep your business going through good times and bad times. And if you have friends, if you have associates, or if you have employees that can help you see you through those times, it is a big help. And that's why I wanted to mention that tonight, because the Academy of Entrepreneurs and Associates is so much more than just a few people after a few lessons on the internet. Because hopefully you'll look at this as a place where people can meet and greet and to share ideas and kind of help each other's spirits to know that every day's not going to be good. What's a good day for me, you may not be having that. And I want to tell you that letting your light shine is a major, major way to help other people. Letting your light shine is another way to help people think about the fact that I'd really like to help someone else see their dreams come true, because that is one of my dreams. And could that be one of your dreams? As an entrepreneur, as a future business person, as someone that sees different people every day, I can think about Valerie and her transportation business in Wilmington, seeing 3 and 4 different folks every day, and whoever their loved ones are that are traveling with them, because she helps folks that are handicapped, mainly get from point A to point B. And I just know that Valerie's spirit of one that lets her light shine is helping other people see that Valerie's living her dream right now. And by doing that and smiling and telling other people, is saying to other folks, hey, you can do this too. If I can do it, you can do it. And here I am at 75 years old, still in pretty good health. I got a lot of ailments like most people my age do. But I am so happy to be able to share these things with you guys, because maybe just one or two of you tonight will become a dream manager for yourself or your loved one or your family or your church group. Maybe one of you will invite me to come and help set up a dream manager program for whoever the group is that you're working with. That's my dream. And I want to tell you, it feels good, and I want to encourage you to do whatever you need to do to let your light shine. Just like that Cape Lookout Lighthouse, it didn't count. It didn't count really until the chips were down and the storm came in, because that lighthouse shines out and helped people that were in trouble on the water find their way to a safe place. Now, if that can be our goal, letting our light shine so that we can help people that maybe are uncertain where they're headed or need a path to get on, it's worth the effort, my friends. It's worth building your legacy to do that. And I want to tell you that if you'll work at that just a little bit and it becomes infectious with you, it will become contagious to other people. And you will find out that God will bless and keep you. And He'll look after you and your family and your business as well. So join with me in letting your light shine to help other people find their way, to help you see your way more clear. Believe in a higher being, a higher person, whoever you believe in, whatever your religion is. Let it shine so people will know that you care more than just about yourself. Now, I'd like to close tonight thinking that the people over in Ukraine have been on my mind, and I want you to know that it's not fake news. This is a struggling democracy, a struggling country that's trying to live with everyone having rights and everyone having a chance to see their dreams come true. And they're being invaded by a dictator, Putin, who has a long history of invading other countries and smashing them, so that he's trying to build an empire like a king. That's what dictators do, where the people have no rights. They have no future unless they're extraordinarily rich or politically connected. I don't want America ever to get to that point, and I don't want any other country to do that either. So I'm asking you to encourage you to pray for the people in Ukraine, and to pray for all the politicians who have the power to go in and help them save their country. There's some things worth fighting for. And I believe that trying to help another democracy is one of them. And I'm a veteran, and I don't want our men and women to be killed for no reason. But there are some reasons worth going to war for. So that's my little soapbox.